there you go. They are now covered in flies as well as paint. As best I can get them. That paint is terrible, runny. It really needs a white background before you put that yellow on. And yeah, it's meant to be yellow, but I'll tell you now, free of charge, it looked more green. I can't do nothing with it, so they'll go on tomorrow. We'll thread the wires through, put the cable ties in place, and move on to the next job. I just remembered something that I can talk about. I rang the council up, got talking to a very lovely young lady on the phone about starting up a community garage, basically where people of low incomes that love vehicles or got personal projects that require welding and grinding and so forth can meet up and do their repairs. She absolutely loved the idea, so she's going to look into it and let me know, because what I need is a building basically where I can start it, and we need funding. I say we because there's only me at the moment, but I am also looking for a group of people, like-minded people that want to get on side with this in Ipswich. At the moment I'm just looking at Witton area of Ipswich, but if we can get a big enough building, there's no reason why we can't include all the other estates around Ipswich, and there are quite a few. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. She said it's going to take a while for her to look into it. I am already seeing problems with the idea of this, because you've got health and safety for stars. You've got to have insurance. I would love to offer storage of vehicles as well for people if they don't have front driveways to store their pride and joys, and there are a few out there. So yeah, stay tuned on that one. I'll get back to you as soon as I hear something. I will let you know. New day, it's 11 o'clock, Wednesday. Right, so what am I doing? How bad is this rust? Right, bad enough that it needs a little sanding, so we're going to rub that down with a Scotch-Brite, and we're going to get some Hammerite, and we're going to pour it wherever I need to pour it, paint it, get it behind. I mean, it's going to dribble down there, it's going to make a mess. Can't get a sandpaper behind there. Even if I take the rad out, I still wouldn't be able to do it, so the rust will just have to stay. The rest of it I can do. So I'm going to get my Hammerite out, Scotch-Brite it, wipe it down. I'm not going to rust treat it, I'm just going to Hammerite it straight. Once I've done that, I'll put the fans in place, drill some holes at the bottom so we can thread the wires through under and run them up the radiator on the inside, and then we can wire them up to the other radiator. But I think we're going to have to get a bus bar for that electrically and join them all together, all the lives together. Now yesterday I was at the Scrappers. It's my birthday and I needed a birthday treat, so although I got loads from the family, but fuse box with trip out fuses. Well chuffed with that. The whole lot cost me 35 quid. More fuse boxes and relay holders, all with their aluminium brackets, and this is the beauty, this is the beastie. So we have enough, and the Helios as well. They're blooming expensive, those things. So I've got enough to start the electrics. I need a wiring loom really, but I can't find any aftermarket wiring looms, so I might have a go at having a hunt for a Land Rover loom. But instead of sending all the wires direct to the lights, because there's going to be a lot of lights, I'm going to send everything to this, relays and fuses, and then there'll be a big bus bar where all the lives can be connected up at the front. So we'll basically come off the battery, go to all the switches. I'm assuming that's how that'll go. Switches then go to the relays then go to the bus bar, which will be a fat wire, and then from there we can then link up all the headlight and spotlights to the power, and then go back to the relays to operate what we need, something like that. I've got to draw it all out, but that's my plan. Okay, that's the time. Right, painted. I'm going to have to spray some oil behind there to stop that from rotting. I can't get the brush behind. I mean, I could run a sponge with a wire and wedge it up and down a few times. I could do that. That would work to a point, but I think it's probably wise to oil it. So next I've got to go to the dentist now and have a filling done. So I'm going to have a coffee and then go. When I get back, I'll then fit the two fans, and I've got to drill some holes as well to run, and I think I should drill holes for drainage in them anyway, because I probably am going to have holes where I've welded, missed somewhere. So if we can drain it out completely, then water won't get stuck in there by drilling holes, if you see what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, my head is elsewhere with all these troubles I've had these last few weeks. My head's elsewhere. That's going to get a repaint in whatever I do the rest of the car. I just wanted to stop it from rusting, because that's shiny metal up there. So there you go. I do need to get some paint behind though before I make the grill up on this top piece. I haven't done it. I just suddenly remembered. Raw metal up there. So fans next. Right, next job. 5 to 1. Just been to the dentist. Got a big hole in my gob. She didn't have enough time to deal with it today, so I've got to go back in 6 weeks. Anyway, one there, one there. Here you go, guys. They're on. Equal in height. Wiring goes the same direction. So I was going to drill a hole, but I don't think I'm going to be honest. I think I'm just going to tuck that through like that, tuck that one through like so, and build a grill over the top. Unfortunately it will touch there, so what I'm going to have to do is come out and then fold the grill in a little bit. It'll be flat here, but as it works its way down it's going to have to fold to avoid hitting those. But they're in. I had to take the big fan out to access everything. Luckily I managed to get those other ones in without having to take the shroud out, so now I've got to put that one back and then I can drop the bonnet and you can see what's been going on. Finished that job. It's now 10 to 2. It's not sticking very well. Damn it. Dirt. What's going on here then? Has that edge got dirt on it? Maybe that stuff was the wrong stuff. Oh, that's it for the day. This stuff's not sticking. It's just falling off. Cleaned everything. It's just not sticking. I'll wait till tonight and it's got a bit cooler, and I'll have a go at applying it then. See if it'll flatten out overnight, because that's the problem. It's been rolled up, which is why it won't ruddy well stick. Yeah, don't know what else to do with it, so I'm going to get a can of felt glue and some foam. I'm going to glue that to a piece of wood, sorry, a piece of, right, that's how that is going to sit in there. And all these pigtails, I'm going to pull these out and tape up a wire cable tie each pigtail, because it's one wire in, one wire out, for each fuse, and there's loads of them, and work it from there really. I've got a few more of these lying around, so I'm going to fill this entire area up. Only problem is I need a diagram glued in on here, which one does what, where it goes, and then that can swing open to there, and then that will be fixed in thus angle. So that will fit down there. It's not ideal. I might raise it up to here, actually, thinking about it. We've still got that radiator to think about. I don't want to take up valuable space. Doesn't have to go on this side though. Could go on this side. But everything I've done so far has been on this side because I can visualise it. But once we move up there, I may not be able to. So we'll see what happens. That stuff, that didn't work. Doesn't stick to bed liner. That's the problem I got with it. Flat metal, not a problem. stuck like poo to a blanket with that, but not with the bed liner, I'm afraid. So I'm going to peel them off if I can get them off, and I think we'll buy some red bed liner, 2 cans of the stuff, and cover this whole interior with it. The paint alone will help with some of the noise. Not really sure what else I can do, to be honest, to try and quieten those tins down. I forget, that's the time. Now about to run a drill, cordless drill, for the record. Air is a bit low. The air compressor is running as well. Don't know if you can hear it. Quickly zapped it with a welder in the end. Those rivets weren't working, so that's now fully encased and waterproof. Okay, all I've got left to do is the bracket I put in there, and the one I put in there, I just got to put 2 pop nuts in so I can screw that down, because I am going to need to continually keep pulling this in and out. That one's on screws, so that's not so much of an issue. So yeah, we've got some weird stuff going on. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to make the brackets, the bars that go on the back, so they can be mounted on the wall, and then we'll screw them in. We won't do them up tight because I've got to come out again. Just debating whether to take these off as well, because I don't want them rattling around. That'll annoy me. There's no, I don't need them on there. So might just cut each one off and gently grind back, quietly grind back. And I don't think I'm even going to paint those, to be honest. I was going to put these in the back, but I can't help feeling that I'm making a stupid mistake doing that, because 1, I'm blocking my rear door access, 2, potential roll cage access, 3, slidey down bed, although I can't even get in and out of that thing properly. That is not 53-year-old friendly, that thing. The other problem is the length of wires that I've got to use to go all the way to the front and then come all the way back. It's just too much. If I take one massive live off the battery at the back, I can go forward with that, or even better, and come off the starter motor, because the battery will be plugged straight to the starter and the winch will go to the starter, and then I can take off a heavy wire off the starter, put it on a bus bar at the top, and then I can feed off that into whatever it is I'm running. Well, there's 6 lights at the front, Probably going to be a load of 12 volt LED lights on the roof. We've got indicators. We've got a bonnet light I want to put inside the engine bay. That's just the lighting alone. Then you've got what? Indicators, because I've got side markers to purchase as yet. Oh yeah, that's the point, I better organise that. And then what else? We've got the engine management. I say management's not an ECU, but it runs, you know, you've got points condenser and all that kind of stuff. Actually that's electronic ignition on this, but whatever. All that little lot's got to come out, by the way, what you're looking at, like wiring. It's not needed. So we've got all of that to run, wiper unit to run. You'd enjoy that one, the wiper unit. I've got some good ideas for that. And then we come to the back, we've got the tail lights to do. I want to put 2 windscreen wipers on that window. Possibly even one on the inside as well, because I can't put a demister in. Don't know about that one at the moment, we'll see. So yeah, there's a lot to go in. Then you've got the radio system, the CB system, the 8-track, don't laugh. I have one of those. That's got to go in. Oh, it's a 60s based vehicle, it's got to go in, isn't it? Then you've got all the gauges and clocks. It's loads. So I'm planning on putting them here, that space there, and I was going to tilt them each side. But in order for me to wire between each box, because when they were going in the back, the waterproof capability wasn't an issue. Now it is. So I'm planning on cutting 2 pieces of steel pipe, welding 1 piece to there, 1 piece to there, then drilling out, and then I was going to get a piece of rubber and connect rubber with 2 Jubilees on that to tighten it all up. That way I can then feed the wires through to this side and in. And then on this one, probably this one actually, thinking about it, I'll then drill a series of holes here with rubber grommets so I can feed the wires in and out. It's not foolproof. I'm not going to stop the water from getting in 100%. These are trip fuses. I am on the understanding they don't like getting wet. Not a lot I can do about it. I was going to look at trying to do some kind of water trap, but again I'm not sure. These ammo boxes date back to 1986. I was 16 years old when they were manufactured. Huh? Right, so that's the plan. So I've got to find 2 pipes first, and then we've got to get hole saws cut. I hate welding to this metal, it's Galvy underneath that paint, it's terrible stuff. Then I've got to weld a couple of brackets that side to mount it to the bulkhead, and then I've got to weld 2 leg brackets each side of that, which is going to ruin the paint. I wasn't planning to repaint these, but it is now looking like I'm going to have to. But I may wire brush all of these pressings down if there's any more that side. No, that's it, that's all there is. Just for the fun of it, really. So one thing I am now waiting for is a fuel tank. I have finally ordered one. 80 quid. Flipping heck. It's not even an original one for this, but it is a stainless steel one. It's a little smaller capacity than what's supposed to be in this, but that's all I could find. And if it don't fit, I haven't measured it. I just saw it, thought right, solid, I had enough looking. Spent 3 days looking. I just come to the conclusion that I'll just literally cut it down and weld it back up with just normal mild welding wire, and that will be the end of that. It's stainless steel, we can water test it. It's not going to rust it out, not bothered. So it should fit. 24 inches wide, and I think the gap is 28 in there, so it should go in. I've just got to weld some exterior brackets on to hold it in place, and it shouldn't even sit below the chassis line, so it should be relatively well protected, but we'll see where we end up. I do need some steel underneath there to protect that, and I've also got to make a guard for the steering and the radiator at the front, which I've got some metal in the shed for that. There you go. So I just need 2 Jubilee clips, and we've now got a pass-through pipe for electrics. The gap is bigger than I intended. Not a lot I can do about that. I could shorten that hose down a little bit, about a centimetre, get that a little closer, but do you know what? I don't think it's worth the aggro. I did cut the tube on this side a little shorter than I intended it to be, so that's a bit of a pain in the butt. You can see from there ain't much of it, but there is a couple of steel braces to go along the back, so Jubilees can go in any time. I can put them on. I need to cut some metal now. I think I'm going to rubber mount these onto the bulkhead. I found two BMW gearbox mounts, but I haven't got any more. My big industrial fan on the wall, I think, has a bird's nest in it. I'm not 100%, and there is two rubber mounts on that, and the fan's busted anyway, so I was going to take it down. But I think if we do the steels first, and we can mount to that, and we will have to call this job done and come back to it another time. It was always intended to be pulled out and put into storage until it was ready to be put in properly. So if we lay it in there, we know we don't have that area to bolt anything to because my electrics are there. So, well, I'm utterly peed off from myself. Bad planning on my part. I cannot get them in that engine bay at all. Just not happening. Now I've got a ton of bleeding holes where I didn't want them. So I have no choice now. Absolutely no choice. If I want that waterproof, they're going to have to sit on the back, and I'll run out of time today, so we'll make some brackets up next week, and then we'll mount them, and that means I've got to have half a mile of wire going that way and then half a mile of wire coming this way. I'm not happy about that. There's nowhere else to put it. I've already made the pipe work, as you've seen, to send wires through. I mean, I could have put one up end there and then the other one over there, but I wouldn't be able to reach that one. It's just too far in. An annoying spot, I could have gone in here once this was all put in. So yeah, I've now put two waterproof boxes in the back of an area that doesn't get water in it. Can you see the funny side of it? Because I can. So I'm going to lift these up higher, so they're probably going to get attached to that. I would drill them now, but I just know I'm going to get whined at. So I will stop for the day. This area, it's terrible. I've got to somehow find a way of quietening this metal down, and I just don't know what to do with it. Genuinely, I don't know what to do with it. I've got to do something. So okay, they're going to go there. So it now reduces the amount of room I have to get anything in the back. That's a pain in the butt. The battery's going to go here. It's going to be a little cupboard under here for all my recovery stuff. And then after that, it's free to all, really. The bed, I ain't going to have a lot of room, but if I do a bed, it will go across there. Do you know what? I might actually put a roof tent up there at some point when I can afford one. That's what I might do. I think that's worth considering. I'm not into them. I don't like them that much, if I'm honest. I mean, they're alright if you're in the Sahara and you've got lions and tigers and leopards and all that lot, but we're in England. What's going to bite me arse? A squirrel? That's probably the worst that can get in. That's why I don't see a point in them. But there you go. A little bit annoyed. So what's the time? It's 3:05 on a Friday, so I'm calling it a day. I'm calling it a week, actually. I don't know what to do about them holes. Be a pig to weld up. I'll probably have to put metal plates behind, weld them and grind them back as best as possible. I feel a bit foolish at this point in time, by the way. We've got to do some grinding down there anyway. I've got to get rid of all that metal, and that bolt has got to go as well. So next week, what's next week? Right, next week we're going to attempt to get the brakes fitted, power wash all this metal, paint up, hammerite, and then I'll start chasing around and trying to find all the hoses that I need, plumb the engine up, and we'll get a battery tray made at the back. Now that the relay box and the fuse box is going in the back, there's nothing stopping me now from actually starting bits and pieces of the wiring. If I put it over there, it means I've got to climb in the back, and I find that difficult to do. The seat don't go down, so I can't access, you know, that post there. If I was to put it in there, put these over there, I can't access them. I can't get near them, and I've got a roll cage frame to go in there anyway, so that was either in the engine bay or at the back, and that ain't going in the engine bay. We've tried, so they're going in the back, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've just got to accept that they're in an awkward spot. So there you go, we're done for the week. It has been a funny old week. There was something I wanted to say about it, but there is nothing I can say about it. I was accused of running a business. I am not doing it at all. What I will say is, if you do decide to donate to the channel, hang on, I will donate. I'll start again. If you want to donate to the channel, if you think my efforts are worth it, worthy of that, look, this is what I'm going to do from now on while I'm in this position. If you want to donate, donate. The PayPal button is still there. The Buy Me Coffee is still there somewhere. And I will donate that money. All money that you donate to me, I will donate it to a charity. I'll get a receipt of proof. And the charity of my choice is the St. Elizabeth's Hospice in Ipswich. A friend of mine a few years back had cancer, and he went there, and they looked after him. He was a grumpy old git at the best of times, so you can imagine what a grumpy person's like when they know they're dying of cancer. Bloke did me no harm, looked after me while he was alive. You know, when I needed help, he was always there. If I needed a lift somewhere, he was all right. For me, some people couldn't get on with him, but I could, which is a first, because I struggle with some around here. So they looked after him, and I remember when I walked in that place, it was like, this is not a hospital, and it's not a care home. It didn't have the feel of a care home, but it had the layout of a hospital, except carpets everywhere, sofas, smell of food in the air, and the nurses were the most polite and pleasant people you could ever meet. They were very professional. They had single rooms, and we're not talking like the little single rooms. I don't have any of you in Ipswich watching, but in Ipswich you've got these little single rooms. I nickname them the death rooms, because when the people are like not going to recover, that's usually where they put them, get them out of the way. You know what I mean? The single rooms were not like that. Some of the single rooms had patios that led out onto a patio area that was covered in foliage, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And that impressed me, and I did raise a little bit of cash for them. I got them a £50 card, and they put that on auction, and said they were going to turn that into a 200 quid card. So what I'm saying is, if you like what I'm doing, you want to donate, and I will pass that over to the St. Elizabeth's Hospice. I don't think I'm breaking any rules by doing that. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go now, and I'll see you on Monday. That is my chosen day where we'll start the next steps. I've got to get up at the top of that garden somehow. I can't push it, it's too heavy, so we've got to drive it up there. So now we've got to jump ahead and get this thing a little bit closer to drive. So the grill's going to have to wait, the window's going to have to wait, and we'll paint that engine bay up, because I want to start putting stuff in for real now, and I don't want to be faffing around pulling it all out again at a later date. Just don't want to be doing that. So that's next week's. Thank you for viewing. Sorry for the delay, sorry for the gap. We'll see you next week. You have a good weekend. Laters.